taking some time. Okay, and we are live from Mariel Talks Pop. I'm your host, Mariel, and I have with me an amazing guest all the way from the UK, the amazing Sean Smith. How are you, Sean?
I'm very well, thank you. And yourself?
I'm doing great. Really happy to have you here on my show. I've been waiting for this for so long, and when I got a response from your manager, I was like so excited. I mean, this has to happen, and now it's happening.
The pleasure's all mine, honestly. You've had some great guests from what I've heard as well. So, it's a pleasure to be involved in all this.
Thank you so much. And well, we have a lot to talk about because you've been in the music business now for quite some time. Since you began with Same Difference, which happens to be one of my favorite groups. That was back in 2009, right?
It was Christmas of 2007. We were on the X Factor.
Oh, 2007, yes.
Yeah, and 2008 was kind of our big release of our debut album. And 2009 we were still kind of on the scene, you know, doing touring and all that kind of stuff. So I can see why there's been a bit of but maybe like you didn't realize about us until that time, you know. It's maybe took a little while to get over to Mexico. I don't know.
Well, it's interesting because I'm usually trying to find out about more pop singers, you know, like not staying with what's only playing on the radio. I've always been looking forward to find something different. And I don't know if you're familiar with this website called Last FM.
I feel like I've heard of it. Is it online? Yeah.
Yes, it's a huge platform where you can find different artists. And I think I found you through Rachel Stevens.
Club.
Yes, you guys appeared as similar artists. And I was like, oh, this seems interesting. And that's how I found you. But I had no idea you guys were at the X Factor until later. Because like I mentioned, the X Factor UK didn't make it here in Mexico. So.
Yeah, that's true. It's a shame. But I know there's lots of different versions all around the world. But it's a shame it never made it to you. But that's kind of what gave us our platform. But that's incredible that you kind of found us through that. And I guess that's how a lot of because I think it was like, I had 177 countries on my Spotify breakdown, and you think that just blows my mind to think how we managed that. And I guess it's probably through things like that where, you know, you're checking out a Rachel Stevens song and then maybe you might like this. And it's so cool how everything's so connected now. I love that.
Yes, thank God now we have all these digital platforms where we can find a lot of music that even though it doesn't make it in your country, you can find a lot. So
yeah, it's great.
That's
also
amazing.
Connected now. It's beautiful. It's beautiful to be so connected around the world.
Exactly. And now, well, about your experience on the X Factor, you and your sister decided just to go. You were planning to go solo, and then your sister decided to go too, or how was it?
This is very true. Yeah, you've done your research. Basically, it's a really big show over here in the UK. It was at the time. And it was just like I put, you know, my name down on an application, and I was going to go up solo. My sister was at a college for performance here in the UK in London, and she took the day off to come and support me. And basically, I was waiting in the queue. We had to do all this sort of cutaway stuff. We were like waving at the cameras and pretending we were having a good time and all this. And the next minute, we found ourselves at the back of this huge queue with thousands of people. We're thinking, wow, this is going to take us forever to get to the front. And my sister's just being all bubbly and fun. And she's got this sort of really cool vibe where she's been, you know, so used to being around people in the industry while she was at college. And the cameras just seemed to love her. And they kind of, you know, a crew came over and started talking to her. And it turned out that she wasn't there to audition. And I was like, hi, I'm the one auditioning. Can you film me? You know? And I guess that they just kind of liked her vibe. And eventually she kind of said, I'm here to support my brother. And they took us directly from back of the queue all the way to the front so that we could go and do our audition, which it's kind of unfair on everybody else. But, you know, when these kind of things are happening, you just go with it. You know, you're thinking, wow, how lucky.
Yes.
And it all kind of went from there. We both went in and auditioned separately, both got told no. And then one of the producers came up to us and said, would you like to be in a band together? And we did an audition that was absolutely terrible. And they said, yeah, you're through. And it kind of just went from there. And it's mad. I think that they were maybe a little low on bands that year, or they wanted to, see about the dynamic between a brother and sister and how that would work on a show like that. So we were very lucky that it just worked out. The everything aligned for us to come together like that. It was crazy.
Well, you may say that your first audition was not like the best, but you guys went through and ended up in third place. I mean, you beat a lot of other contestants that were there. I mean, wow.
Yeah, it was. I mean, what a whirlwind of a time it was. It was just incredible, and I think we just kind of took it week by week. And right from the very start, because of the kind of music we do, we were seen as kind of uncool. But it's weird because we kind of stuck to what we were all about. It ended up feeling a little bit cooler, and people were more interested, just purely because it was so random for people like us to love pop music and stick by it through thick and through thin. So I think it was like a breath of fresh air at the time, and something a little bit different that people could relate to and latch on to.
Yes, you guys were like so happy all the time. I love all your performances. I've been watching them because, well, like I said, I didn't watch them before, but you can find them all online, so that's great. And my personal favorite was when you guys performed "Reach" by S Club 7.
Yeah.
I love that performance. You guys were always so happy, so that's why I think you guys went through all the journey of the X Factor, because of your charisma and your sympathy and all that good bubblegum pop vibe.
Yeah, it was definitely something very different, and it was kind of like a love it or hate it thing. But that's the beauty of music. I love certain stuff that maybe other people don't like, and that's just how it is. It's in the eye of the beholder, if you know what I mean. And we had something that a lot of people would have an opinion on, but at the same time it worked out perfectly for us because it gave us something different. So yes. I'm glad that you like it. I'm glad that you found it. It's incredible to me.
Yes, I love watching that, and love watching Simon Cowell's because you were on his team, right?
Yeah, he was our mentor. So the way the show works is there's 4 judges, and each one also doubles up as a mentor, and then they take on 3 acts each when you get through to the final 12. And it's like, so the judges are kind of battling as well as the artists to get their artists into the final and to win the competition, because it's kind of like just my artist has won. It's kind of something cool for them to say, but it's all judges get to comment on all the other performers as well. So it's quite a sort of fun concept. Obviously, things have moved on so far since then. Back then, it was kind of a new concept, but now it's something that's been copied over and over. But at the time, it was something really fresh and new, and it was really cool to be a part of it. We were on series 4. I think it ended up doing like 13 or 14 series in the end. So
it's been going for so long.
Yeah, it was very popular. I think by the end, it kind of started to sell out a little bit. Things always move on and change, and we were really lucky that we got in at a time when it was the height of its popularity.
Yes, it was great back in those days. It was like the best show. Leona Lewis's Shane Ward. You guys were at the Leon Jackson.
That's right. Yes. He won our year.
Yes.
Yeah, he's got some cool stuff as well. People, it's weird because here in the UK, it kind of didn't do as much as other artists that won the show. But I still think it's a great piece of work, his album. And he's a really nice guy. So good luck to him. I think, after all these years, I can, even though he won at that time and it hurt, I think after all these years, I can say definitely go and check out his stuff because it really was good. I mean, it might seem a little bit old-fashioned now because obviously it was so long ago. But same with our music, really. And it's obviously you have to move and change with the times in order to stay relevant as you move forward. So that's what I always try to do.
Totally, yes. But now I saw each one of your performances, and I saw that what's his name, Louis Walsh.
Yeah,
was always like mean to you, and I'm like, why does he like them? Because you guys were so fun, and how did you take all of his critics when you were
I think it's never easy because the people here respect the judges so much that they end up listening to them, and they take on their words, and it kind of stays with you. So it is quite hard for you to take at the time. But he used to kind of come up to us in the green room backstage and say, "Look, I'm going to say some nasty things to you, but please don't take it personally." And sometimes he would even say, "I'm going to say something tonight that isn't going to sound good on the face of it, but it's really good for your career." And he'd always make you feel like it was never malicious or to hurt you. So although obviously you'd much prefer to have good things said about you all the time, I think it also went for us, because when these horrible things are being said to you, the people that like you, it then makes them really feel like they want to follow you and vote for you and stuff. So yes. I feel like in a weird way it did us a few favors, but obviously it's never nice to hear not great things about yourself. Everyone wants to go through life hearing, all the best things about themselves, but unfortunately that's not the world we live in, and you have to take the rough with the smooth sometimes.
Yes, but I bet you took like the best of his comments to grow as an artist, right?
He never really gave us any, to be honest.
Oh, he
we just had to take the bad and just go, he's never going to like us. But the weird thing was for me, I mean, I don't know how far you've delved into all these different artists, but there was another artist that were two brothers called Jedward that came out maybe 2 years after us. And he was their mentor, and they were kind of similar in a way, because they had they were brothers, we were brother and sister. They did sort of pop stuff, and they were kind of Eurovision stuff. And he backed them all the way. The other thing was he's Irish and they're Irish, so that kind of gave them this better connection. But I always felt like, how could he say he never liked us when he liked them, and they're so similar in a weird way, So it's just, I just sometimes think it's the way it is. You have to take the rough with the smooth in life, and I have no worries about it. I saw him again on a TV show not too long after, and he was great with us, and he was fine, and it's all water under the bridge.
Well, I think it's all part of the show too. I mean, there's always like a bad guy and the good one.
It makes it exciting. It makes better TV, and I think they know how to make exciting TV, and you're just part of that machine, really. You either go with it or you don't. If people were fighting against it, you'd notice that next week, they had things said about them that maybe left them in that middle point, and they're probably going to get kicked off. So we kind of did everything we could to just enjoy every minute of it while it was happening.
No, the good thing is that you guys enjoyed it. And what was your favorite performance during the X Factor?
For me, there was we did Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now by Starship, and it was one where people were just like, how people are online, they'll just blurt out anything, and we were getting a lot of like, the only reason these guys are in is because they've got so many gimmicks. We were flying up to the top of Christmas trees and turning the stage into a circus and all this kind of stuff. And everyone was like, without the gimmicks, they're not talented. And we kept saying to Simon, look, we really want to do a song where it's just about our vocals and about the performance and about connecting with the people, but without all those gimmicks. And he kept saying, no. Anyway, eventually we were both wearing nice, smart black clothes. We sang Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now, and that week we went through with flying colours. And for me, it was a symbol that we weren't just about the gimmicks. We could also sing too, and so that's why it felt extra special.
Totally. I mean, I think that performance changed the perspective of how you guys were performing before on the other pop songs, and that song gave you like other perspective of what else you can do with your talent, with your voices. So
yeah, definitely, that was it. And we never said, we were never saying the whole way through that we had the best voices. It wasn't something that we were known for. It was more about the big performances and everything like that, and I'm still a bit like that to this day. There are definitely other artists who can do more technical, amazing things with their voice, or someone that's got a more distinctive voice that as soon as you hear it, it's them. and I'm the first person to hold my hands up and say that, but the fact that we managed to get through, no gimmicks, just singing our socks off, definitely helped people think of us slightly differently, I think.
Yes. And well, after the X Factor finished, you guys were signed into Simon Cowell's label, right?
Yeah, and
Yes.
it was kind of unheard of at the time, because if you came third, it was highly unlikely that you get a chance. But obviously, he saw something in us. Also, have you heard of Steps?
Of course.
Of
I
course,
love them.
I knew you said, because you mentioned S-Club. I didn't know if you love Steps as well, but they're all very similar and all kind of in that vein of great pop music. But Steps' manager was one of the creative directors of the X Factor that year, and he
Okay.
just loved us, got what we were all about, knew how to market us, and said, "Look, please let me sign him to your label, but let me run with it. I know what to do with these guys." And so he was a big reason why, we came third and still managed to get signed, and it was incredible. But we were left in limbo for quite some time. We had to go out and do the whole X Factor tour, not knowing whether we were going to be signed or not. But when they finally took the deal up, it was incredible to know that we were going to continue to be artists after the show.
Yes. And you released that amazing album called Pop, which is it is what it is. It's pop. So you
Yeah.
guys couldn't pick a better title for it. It's pop.
Yeah, well, we were trying to sort of say, because at that time, those S-Club and Steps, they were kind of 90s, early 2000s, and but obviously Steps has made a big comeback now, which is incredible. Like, it's like
Yes.
amazing. But like back then, it was kind of a nod to that era, and we were kind of so the reason why we called it Pop was just to say this is unashamedly pop, and pop is back, and all of the sort of promotion was about pop coming back, and as I say, it was introducing a whole new a whole new load of people, like a whole new group of kids into that pop era that maybe they'd missed out on in the 90s that we love so much.
Definitely. Yes. I think your album has that similarity between Steps' first albums and S Club's all albums, because all of S Club's albums sound alike, but I love them too. So yes, you guys were like a late response, but for the new generation. So that's
things had moved on by then, which was a huge shame, because the Steps and S Club at that time. I mean, S Club had a whole kids TV show that was on a channel over here in the UK, and
it was airing here.
Really? Oh, incredible.
Yes.
I mean, I used to love that, and it was kind of a show showing how they were all getting on. It was like a full acted piece, but all the music went into it too, so you'd love the show as well as loving the music, and so they really built something with that. And it was funny because they wanted to do a similar thing with us, but at the time it was like TV shows didn't want to pump big money into shows like that, because they were too expensive to make, when they could just as easily do like a cooking show or something. So once the times had moved on like that, and there was no monetary value in it, so that would have been something that would have been really cool for us, but unfortunately never happened. So we never had the sort of visual to go along with it, but we had some amazing times while we were signed to Simon Cowell's label. We went out to LA like 2 or 3 times, I think, all expenses paid. Got treated incredibly, like this what you would imagine artists signed to the biggest label in the world would be. So it was just a beautiful time.
That's so good. I mean, that album in particular, it's my favorite from you guys. I have heard the 2 albums, but that one's my favorite. And the single "We Are One," did you guys choose it to be your number one, to be your first single, or was it the label? How was it?
I think it was kind of a bit of both, really, because when we heard, basically the way it worked, they gave us a bunch of demos that they thought, right, it's called like A&R. They gave us a load of demos that they thought were perfect for us, and obviously we would also go in and write with different writers and stuff like that, and then they compile all the songs together, and then you'd sort of see your best songs. But I think it was very clear, even from the early demo stage, that "We Are One" was one of the standout songs on there, because I remember when they first played it, even at demo stage, we were like, wow, like we had a feeling that was going to be our first single. And when the final version eventually we heard it, it was like, wow, this is single material for us all day long. And I think the hardest thing about that was that we came out at a really difficult time. And I think any other time, say for example, it came out as a summer song, because the video was very bright and it was shot out in LA and it had this sort of like big smiley sunny thing, and we were releasing it around Christmas time. And here in the UK, it's like snowing and cold, and
Yes.
so it didn't necessarily suit the time. But I think at any other time, it might have been more of a hit. It might have been number one, maybe. And obviously, that's something that when you get a big UK number one, it's something that you can tell the grandkids it's something really big. But it never made it. It was such a big time. And all these different records were coming out. Pink was number one at the time, I think, and Britney was doing a song against her. It was just all the biggest artists around. To even be in the mix was insane for us.
I'm sorry, excuse me.
Not at all.
Just got out of this flu, but this cough.
Have you got some water?
Yes. And the single, yes, you guys were competing with other artists, but you guys still made it into the charts. I mean, not everybody can say that. I mean, you guys made it into the UK singles chart.
Yeah, it was number 13 in the UK, and then in Ireland we made the top 10. But it was kind of. I remember at the time we went into Radio 1, which is one of the biggest stations here in the UK, and they never told us where we'd got to. We had an inkling, and we were probably around about 10, because I know we'd moved in the midweeks and stuff. Nowadays it's so much easier to see where you're at because it's all just there. But back then it was like you had the midweeks, and then you had to wait until the actual official chart came out. And when we came in at number 13, I remember it was like we were trying to be positive. It was hard to be positive because we were quite disappointed. But now that I look back at it, it's like, wow, you know how difficult it is at that time of the year to get a song that does that well. So, it's something I'll always be proud of. And although, of course, we would have wanted it to be a number one, it wasn't meant to be, unfortunately, and for lots of different reasons. But still something we're really proud of.
Yes, so you can say that you had a UK singles chart. Doesn't matter if it was number one or whatever. I mean, you guys had a single. And why didn't you guys release any other single from that album? Because
it was basically they had the option to take us up on the album, which they did, which we were delighted with. And I think it was genuinely that. I think at the time, like Leona, for example, was the year before. Do you know some of her stuff? She's
yes.
Yeah. It's
her.
an amazing voice. She's kind of like UK's Whitney almost. It's really she's really got a great voice. But she kind of went multi-platinum, all different countries all around the world the year before. So I think the bar was set so high that when you're getting a top 15 single in the UK, it wasn't the level that they expected from an artist that's on that label at that time. And so I think although long afterwards, we realized we still made the label a lot of money, but with the millions that they were making off of other artists, it just wasn't. So I think it was kind of like, there's no point keeping going. But I found that really difficult because there were other artists at the time who were signed to different labels who we did in a week the same numbers that they had done in 6. And yet they got second single, third single, fourth single, second album, and you kind of think, wow, if you've got a label that's willing to really work at you, we would have been given a lot more of a chance to kind of make a bigger splash. But because we were the biggest label in the world at the time, artists like Leona were going multi-platinum all over the world. It just wasn't going to work out. So that was why they never did it. I think the second single was going to be Nothing's Going to Stop Us Now, which we weren't sure of because it was a cover and we wanted to be seen as genuine artists, who always did original stuff. But now that I look back at it, I would have loved to have had a second single and had another go at it, because at a different time maybe we might have landed a bit more.
I was about to ask you that. Which song would you have chosen to be the second single? But yeah, now you told me because I read somewhere
I wouldn't
that
have chosen that. I don't
uh,
know.
I
Hmm.
read somewhere that the second possible single was going to be "I Need a House," which was also recorded by Mary Cernholt from the
Yes.
18s. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that would have been really cool. But I mean, it was a weird one because I mean, whatever they decided, you kind of went along with. We were under the impression it was going to be Nothing's Going to Stop Us Now,
Mm,
which after all these years is kind of still the second most played on Spotify. So it made sense. They obviously knew
mm,
something that we didn't, but we wanted to go down the original route. And I think maybe Let Me Be the One or I Need a House might have been the kind of next ones in line as
mhm,
favourites off the album. But the other thing is like we wrote If You Can't Dance, so I know that at the
mhm.
time, thinking in kind of monetary value, we probably would have said, "Can we please make it If You Can't Dance?" Because we wrote it, we would have probably got more royalties and stuff in the long run. But obviously, none of it was meant to be, and it was a huge shame.
Well, that's a shame. And then, well, you guys got to release a second album a couple years later. Uh, this the rest is history, and that's the
Yeah.
name. Yes. Um, you guys got to sing with one of my personal favorite groups, Alcazar. Uh,
Yes.
I
Yeah.
had
I
the
saw
chance to
it.
I had the chance to interview Tess a couple of
That's Yeah, I
weeks
was just
ago.
finding her name. Yeah, it's incredible, amazing. I mean, how incredible to get the chance to work with them. I mean, you must love their stuff as well because they're very much in the same vein as your Steps
Yes,
and that kind of stuff. But obviously they're Swedish, but they're
yes.
they're like the almost like the originals because they were doing that stuff first almost, and they'd had so
Mhm.
many hits. But I mean, we had a massive hit here in the UK, "Crying at the Discotheque."
No, I love that song.
Was such a huge song. I mean, it's classic, but that
Hmm.
was their big kind of wow number. But they've been doing so much stuff like that for years, and I mean, they're just incredible. And to get the chance to work with them on that second album was
Yes.
just a real, just such a pleasure. And
And that
it's
song is so fun too.
it really is. It's such a shame. That should have been the single, the lead
Hmm.
single from the second album. But the biggest problem we had was getting them together with us to be able to do a video, and then obviously we would have to go out and do all the promotion on UK TV and stuff, and they
Mm,
wouldn't be able to be there, and so it wouldn't make sense. We'd then have to kind of change the record in order to perform it live ourselves, and
yes.
so there was so much going against it, and that was an independent label, so obviously the budget wasn't as big as it was when we were with Sony and Psycho. So
Yes.
it was just one of those things. But I look at it and think if I'd had my time over again, I would have made that the lead single and just made it happen because I think that might have given it a lot more interest. But
Yes.
it's one of those things you can't look back and you know hope for different because you can never get the past back. So we just
Yes.
have to
That.
kind of take it for what it is and try to make things better in the future.
Yeah. But well, that someone here is telling justice for karma, karma. I agree. Justice for karma, karma. Yes, that song is amazing. It's so fun. But I mean, that album, you guys got the chance to write your songs because on the first you didn't write your songs, right?
Yeah, well, we were in with different writers for the first album, but
Mm-hmm.
and we used to do days and days. We would like stay in a place called Metrophonic, which is in Guildford here in the UK, and we'd
Mm-hmm.
write with some of the best writers in the world. And but I felt like with that first album, a lot of those demos that we had originally, they were kind of, you know, given given to the label because of like a favor and stuff like that. So there were a lot of like favors happening. So when we were putting our songs in the mix, they weren't really getting a chance. Maybe they just weren't that good. I don't know. I don't know. But on the second album, we wrote well. Our writing credits exceeded 50% of the album. So
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
something that we're definitely really proud of because we knew we had a lot of creative energy in us, and so the fact that we got to release songs that we knew were pieces of art that we had made definitely was, as artists, meant a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't just sort of money thrown it was all our creative energy put into this work, this piece of art. So yeah, it was different. The second one, it was a lot more, you know, a lot more favors and a lot more. You're working with people who were, they maybe wouldn't have worked with us, but they did because they knew friends of our label and stuff like that. And so it was a lot more creative. Whereas the first one was just, here's your songs, go and write some songs. They might not get used, but we definitely want you to lay down a great vocal. And it was basically packaged for us. But on the second one, we had a say in everything pretty much, which
Yes.
I enjoyed that process, definitely.
More,
And I'm still
more control.
proud. Yeah, yeah. And, you know, there was a lot of, you know, different ways that we wanted to go as artists. And I think we found somewhere in the middle. And I'm still very proud of that second album to this day, because I know what we put into it, and I know we had to beg, steal, and borrow to get that out. You know, it was a you know, with what we had, we managed to get something really cool, I thought.
So. You can say you have two great albums.
Well, that's good.
Yes. We will get to questions and stuff later, guys. But he can't read your stuff, but I can. But I will let him know once I'm done with my questions, just before we go on. Moving on, you guys decided to split, to leave same difference.
Yeah.
Why?
Oh, you're making me relive all these bad memories. Well, it got, I think it was Christmas of 2014. At that point, you know, it's been 7 years and almost, 7 years. So basically, we had done everything we could with it, I think. You know, we had the first album, then toured that for a while, then second album came along, and we did as much as we could getting that out there. Then we kind of and we got to a point where we were doing the gigs for years, just doing everything we could with that. And then we even extended it longer by coming up with a business which was called the Same Difference Pop Academy, which then was like an interactive thing, giving back. So we would do the shows, and then the next day the kids would come to us, and we'd kind of put on a show with the kids doing all this pop music. So it was a really cool thing to do. But I think when it got to a point where we were going to do a third year of that, but it was like less dates and stuff like that, and it actually got to a point where we were like, we're working our socks off here, and it's probably, you know, it was clearly sort of losing its value as it was going on. I think that happens to a lot of artists off the back of the X Factor. But it got to the to Christmas that year, and obviously Christmas is often a time where you reflect and you're wondering what you're going to do in the new year. And we just had a really heart to heart. And it was a really sad time, because we put our lives into it for 7 years, and our best years of our lives as well. When you think, you know, throughout your 20s is when you're really finding yourselves. And, you know, it's also in this industry, the times when you can play all your lead parts in musical theatre. And so it was a real tough decision. But I think we both recognised that, you know, we'd probably have to go to war on a third album if we were going to give it any more life. And at that point, it was like, is there enough? Times have moved on, you know. As much as we wanted to keep flying the flag for pop, it was getting tougher in the climate, and I think we both needed a break, and a break from each other too, because, you know, you've got a brother and sister who, you know, we used to kill each other as kids, and then we're working together non-stop. And in this time, you know, also we were getting older. Sarah started wanting to get married, have a family, you know, and move on with her life. And sometimes it's like you've got to leave the past in the past and say, wasn't that great what we did, and just let it go.
Yes, take the best from that time. So yeah, I get it.
Yeah, definitely. It was a sad time, that, but I think in the long run, it was for the best for the both of us.
There's a rumor that you guys recorded a third album called Superheroes, and that those songs are still somewhere. Do you have them, or how can we listen to them?
I have. This is the thing that I have got them. Okay, so this is just like a bundle of demos, and they're at such early stage, and we've maybe gone in and put in a scratch vocal, which is basically just you know, this is how it's going to work, but it's not actually properly done. So then they've got something to go with to create tracks. Then you can go back in to record proper vocals. So they're all at sort of scratch vocal early demo stage because they never came to fruition. So, you know, and again, they were just a bundle of ideas. We were writing a lot of them ourselves again. So I've got this, I've shown to a few select people in my time, and there's been some good feedback, but this is the trouble. I think a lot of people are so used to hearing the finished article now, and there's so much music out there and so much choice that, you know, I don't like showing them to people in the form that they are, because people will struggle to see how they could be great without seeing the finished article. So yeah, I'm very select about who I sort of show them to, but I think there are some good songs in there, and it was a shame.
You should leak them.
Yeah. The thing is, this is the thing. It's they're not at the level to be leaked, so it could end up sort of messing with our legacy, so to speak. You know.
Well, we will imagine them in our head anyway. But well, then after Saint Difference decided to part ways, you went to have a solo career, which is now amazing. I mean, I just recently listened to your latest album, Swing for the 90s.
Very different, yeah. It's very different.
Yes, I love it. I was playing it, and my mom was passing by, and she said, "That's new from Michael Bublé." And I'm like, "No, mom, that's not Michael Bublé." she thought you sounded much alike. You have that.
Yeah,
type of
I mean,
voice.
that's a huge, you know, that's a huge compliment, because I'm a big fan of his, and he was one of the main reasons, really. Him and another artist called Robbie Williams, a UK artist. They're two that are kind of known for doing that kind of thing, and I loved all that stuff growing up. And I used to watch those kind of artists perform, and I love the coolness of it. You know, it's and we actually got to meet Michael Bublé when we were on the X Factor, and he's one of the nicest guys you'd ever wish to meet. Just a true gentleman, kind-hearted, good person, and when you meet people like that, and it really does stick with you, and so his songs bring me joy. And but what I wanted to do was mix those original sort of 90s pop and dance, all the stuff that I loved when I was in the 90s, and kind of do that swing vibe to it. And it was all because of COVID, really. When we all went into lockdown, I just needed something to do, and there was no way I was going to be able to write with people over Zoom and stuff. You know, it just felt like it would have taken too long, and so much creativity would have had to go into it. So that felt like an easy way to go, an interesting concept, and something that I'm naturally good at, but also something that we could put together remotely. And I loved that, because it was so cool that we were all in our separate houses, and everyone was just bringing their musicians to the party, and it kind of came together into this album that was quite exciting for me, I think.
Yes, it's really cool. I was playing it, and I'm like, I never imagined listening to the Spice Girls. Who do you think you are, in a swing version? And it sounded so fun, so cool. I love the result with Truly, Madly, Deeply, End of the Line by the Honeys, which I love. I mean, you did a great job with all those songs, and I think that
thanks.
It deserves like a lot more promotion. You should be doing a lot of, but I know because of this COVID.
Exactly that's the big problem. I mean, I feel like what it needs is a moving ad, you know, that's kind of got me in front of a crowd, band in the background, looking sharp with a loose, you know, just singing, just belting these bangers out, and then you can use that as like promotion to get it out. But this is the thing, all we had was like photos. Those photos from the front album, I literally, because we were isolated, I literally did them here in my house. You know, it's crazy what we had to do while we're in lockdown in this country. It was just completely locked down. So we had to do whatever we could to make things happen remotely. And I feel like I was saying to my manager the other day, I feel like that's something that we need to come back to, which is get that show on the road, and then get it filmed to the highest order, so that people get what it's all about, get the coolness of it, get the musicianship, and then I think it will drive more traffic to to Spotify to listen to that. But it's one of those things, I think, now that we're slowly getting out of lockdown in this country. I don't know how you guys are getting on over there. Is it still pretty bad?
It hasn't been that bad as you guys, but we were in a lockdown too. Right now, you can go out, but you have to wear a mask. That's
we're kind of still doing that now.
Yeah, it's mandatory, and always have these gels, the antibacterial ones, and yes, you can go out if you don't have that stuff with you. But
for me, now we're just starting to open things up again properly, and I've noticed that a lot more sort of jobs are coming out. Obviously, I'm a working actor performer as well, so a lot of stuff starting to come back out again, which is a great sign. And if we can get that show on the road and really get some great footage, I think it will definitely help in getting it out there, because it's one of those albums that it will work in any era. It won't really feel like it's aging, because the songs are already, I mean, it's a 20 sound with 90s records, so anybody who loves the 90s and loves that sort of swing style, it doesn't matter what era you're in and you find it, you're going to like it.
And you chose all the songs for this album?
Yeah, it was my manager helped too. It was kind of a group effort between the two of us, because he kind of made his favorites on the Spotify playlist, and I kind of made my favorites on Spotify playlist, and we were both going, oh wow, I like that one, and it kind of mishmashed together. Certain songs we both adored, but we couldn't get it to work as a swing song, and so there was that to kind of reckon with as well. But other than that, it was just a pleasure to be involved in it, and the whole album was made in the space of about 3 months, whereas Pop pretty much took the whole year. I mean, Rest is History took even longer, because we wrote it all from scratch, and Solo took near enough 4 years because I had to go off to do I did We Will Rock You, and which is like a theatre show, so it took me away from all that, and we had to keep coming back to it all the time, and then we had to kind of renew some of the songs because they started to feel a little bit old. Every album was great for a different reason.
Well, I know it takes its time to be recorded. I mean, but 3 months, it's like, wow, it's super fast.
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing. I think when you've got that laser-like focus, and it's not as if we're second guessing anything, because when you go, oh, is that lyric quite right, or is that, could I sing that maybe a little differently? On original stuff, you have too many options almost sometimes, and you've just got to follow your heart and get your artist's integrity into there. But I think with that, the original's already so well known and so great that you don't want to change. You don't want to change much. I needed to do it in swing style, but the reason why they're so loved in the first place is because of the tune. So why mess with it? Why try and do anything new? So it was easy. We knew that it was already there. The songs were already great. So it's just about making them that style.
Yeah, you chose. Well, I know the 90s has like a huge catalog of music, because it was a great time everywhere, But you chose songs that fitted perfectly with that style.
Yeah, and I think that was the main idea, really. It had to be able to work in the swing style, and there was so much great stuff that came out of that. And it's weird, because I've had probably more compliments for that. People that have found it have really, really loved it, and I've found people to say great things about that more than a lot of the other albums that I've had. So it's again one of those things, you either love it or you hate it. But I also knew with certain fans that it was going to be something that they didn't like because they liked the style that I was already doing. So it's like I'm a big fan of certain artists, and when you're buying them because you love that style, and then you find that an album's new, it takes a little bit of getting used to a new sound. Eventually I always end up loving them just as much, and you realize why they've done it. But I think my next songs, I'm probably gonna go back to my pop roots, because it's where I'm at.
it's your main thing, but I mean, I think that as an artist you have to evolve all the time. You just can't stay in the same thing, and you have to try
Yeah,
something different. And I think doing that with swing music uh, gave you a more give you more versatility, like
yeah.
not staying in the same pop spot, and
Well,
you prove to have that talent.
well, it's mad because I feel like I can kind of. I know it sounds. I mean, apart from kind of rap or, you know, heavy, I can do rock, but not like hard,
Hmm.
sort of devil stuff. It's not my. It wouldn't be. I wouldn't be able to do that. But I think most styles I can do. I mean, I did We Were Rocky, which is all rock stuff. I've done musical theatre because it's all bread and butter work, to be on stage and stuff, which is really cool. I've done the swing stuff, the pop. I can kind of do anything, and I think you have to kind of just listen to your fans, but also stay true to who you are as an
Hmm.
artist as well. Like that was just an idea that came to me. I thought I really want to do it, so let's do it. We've got the time. We're in lockdown. It can be done, so let's just do
Hmm.
it. And I like working like that. And the excitement we all got that were working on it, just getting that done was incredible. Really, it gave
That's
us a good
awesome.
focus. Yeah.
Hmm. But yeah, I think it's always good that as an artist you get to try different things, as long as it goes with the kind of things you like. Like you were
Yeah.
saying, you're not into rock or heavy metal and stuff. I mean, I can picture you doing that. Yeah, because
Yeah. Yeah.
we've seen you doing, pop music, like some dance and stuff, and that's pretty much the same. But I couldn't imagine you doing, like someone here is saying, country pop. I don't know.
No, I mean, there's something in that. I've got a voice that kind of maybe suits that. Those kind of country Americans. I like a lot of those. But it's like if you decided to do that, then it's a change again. And how are the core fan base going to feel about that? But they
Mhm.
say so many artists say you have to put your whole soul out there,
Mhm.
and people will either jump on the train or they'll jump off. But as long as you're sticking true to who you really are as an
Mhm.
artist and what you really want to do, it's like it doesn't matter whether you're upsetting certain fans that loved you before and maybe liked your old stuff. But I've done that with artists myself. Doesn't mean I don't
Mhm.
like them, and also I wouldn't listen to the stuff that I loved originally.
Mhm.
It's just
Mhm.
not like, but it's just maybe the direction they've gone doesn't sit as
Mhm.
well with me. But if ideas come to me and I talk it through with my management and we're all on the same page, let's just do it. That's the way I'm living now because you only get one life. You've just got to put your true self out there, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And your album Solo, which is more like, pop dance. I know it. I'm sorry. It also has like very cool songs. I love "Do or Die."
Yeah, it's
I
cool.
love that style. I love that style of music. I love that. Tell us more about that album, because we've already talked about this, your latest release, and now let's go back to that album.
Well,
Tell us
my
more about it.
overriding feeling with that album was it just took so long to make, and it was we put it out as best as we possibly could at that time, and
Hmm.
it was so harsh of me because Energize, who really backed me after that they were the label that I signed to. It was my first solo album, and
Hmm.
they had spent so much money on making all these records, getting me into the studio, and then I'm going back to them saying, "Oh, the style of music has changed since 2 years ago." Because when we were first recording the first songs that we got down, it
Hmm.
was kind of in line with maybe 2017, 2018. But by the time I think it got released in 2021, early 2020 or early 2020, I can't remember. But
Hmm.
I think we started in 2016. so
Yes,
so it was
quite some
like,
time.
and honestly, in 3 months, if
Hmm.
you're chasing that sound that's big in the charts at that time, that can change again within a month, maybe two. And
Hmm.
so by the
Hmm.
time we recorded all the songs, it points all along these, and they were kind of records that worked at that point in time in the music industry. And so we
Hmm.
had, I can hear the album and hear what I was feeling at certain times. It's weird, but yet you kind of got this sort of mismatch of
Hmm.
different songs purely
Hmm.
because they were made over these times trying to follow trends through 4 years. but I can, if you listen carefully to the album, you can kind of hear it.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of like that in a weird way. But I remember I was on the phone to the label at the time going, I really want to do like new versions of songs that we did. And no one had even heard them. They're like, no one's heard the original version. And you want to do a new version? It was just like, they were like, you're just going to keep throwing money and having to get new producers and
Yes.
stuff. And it was never going to work doing that. So we put it out as it was. And I'm kind of glad that we did in a way, because then you've got, it's kind of like 4 years of my life notated in an album, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And the way that things evolved and the way that I changed as we were doing these different records. And that's what I think is cool about that album for me.
But let's hope that your next album doesn't take that long.
Yeah, I know. I actually said recently, I was talking to my manager, but I was talking to Energize actually, and
Mm-hmm.
there was talk of a new album. I'm not sure what I'm allowed to say with this at the moment. It's all kind of, we're working out where we're going forward. But
Mm-hmm.
I was saying, look, if we do it, I want to do it all in a short space of time, you know, so it doesn't have that feeling. Because I think as much as I love that, and there's positives to that, it shows 4 years of your life, you know, in an album. I think, you know, it's, people don't necessarily see that when it drops and they hear it. They want to hear something that's either current or they get what it is and what direction you're going. So I think I'd want to do it all very quickly next time. And you know, maybe one or two, three producers, you know, rather than so many different producers, because then there's so much different stuff happening that you don't get a clear indication of where someone's going.
Yes.
And I think that's what a lot of people like. I mean, me as a consumer of music, I love to know where I'm at with something, you know, and that's what I love about them. And then I'll follow them and decide what I love about them as I get to know them more and get to know the music.
Well, let's hope for the best for you. And someone here, Emma, who's been telling me to tell you hi. New album this year, fingers crossed. You never know.
Well, no, I was talking to my management about this, and I feel like I need a little time this year to do some more, because I think the biggest thing I've missed has been live work, and I didn't think it meant as much to me as it does, because we haven't been able to do it, because we've been in lockdown. I've really missed it. It's been like a hankering feeling, and it's kind of like, it's one of the only times I feel like I'm really in the zone or free. You know how certain things can make you have out of body experiences and just feel like you're not thinking about anything apart from the task at hand, which is to make these people enjoy your performance. Without being able to do that, it's been really painful for me. And I feel like this year I want to throw myself a lot more into the live work. And that's why I've kind of decided against doing an album, which I know will be a shame to certain people, but it's a lot of work and I want to be doing live stuff. I just miss it. I've got a hankering feeling for it on the inside. But what I've spoken to about with my manager is that we want to get a good few singles out, you know, and so they're proper singles as well. It's not like, you know, maybe like an album song that ends up down the bottom that doesn't get as many plays. We want each one to get the airtime that it deserves and give it a good push. And then potentially, if all of them are landing really well, there's always a chance to do like an EP or something. But it's all at the moment. It's January. We're looking at the new year. We're making plans. So that's where our head's at the moment. But for me, getting back auditioning, landing a job that gets me back on stage is number one priority, because I've just missed it so much. And the swing thing as well, getting that out is something I've been speaking to my friend about a lot. He's got some big ideas for that. So I think getting that out there and at least getting a visual for it is a big step this year.
Yeah, I think that you and a lot of other artists that were having plans of doing tours and it all came down with this pandemic. Everybody wants to go out.
It's happened to all the best people. Like, I mean, Adele is a prime example recently. You know, she's got a residency and then she can't do it. They come down, or the band and stuff have come down with COVID. And a big shout out to all the swings that are in theatre, because shows are going on because they're managing to step in, and it's a great time to be a swing because you get the chance to play all these incredible roles that maybe you wouldn't have been able to because of the pandemic. So big shout out to them as well. It's a crazy world that we're living in at this moment, but by hook or by crook, people are making things happen, and it's incredible.
Hopefully this year is better than the last two, because it's been crazy for everybody. So yeah, we hope to see you soon live. Well, not me personally, because I mean, unless you're planning to come in Mexico, that would be great.
I mean, that would be incredible. I've never been, and
No?
I'll see. I have such a good feeling around your country, but I've never actually been properly. So it's something I need to do in this life. I feel like I've been everywhere in the world because I did a lot of cruise ships and stuff. So I feel like I've seen everything and taken in all these different cultures, and each one's beautiful in its own way. But I've never been. So, but I was saying to you about speaking Spanish. I've had to learn from auditions some Spanish recently. So yeah, it's tomorrow actually. So if I haven't got it down yet, I need to I need to look at it.
If you need help, let me know, because I mean, I work as a translator, so I
also
do.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
you're a perfect person to help. I've got some friends from Spain, so they've been helping me a little. But I'd love to run it by you. Definitely, it'd be cool. But I'm kind of running out of time because it's tomorrow.
Oh yes, a little. But whenever you need help, let me know. And if you ever visit Mexico, I would be thrilled to have you here. I mean, you're gonna love this country.
Yeah, I know. The weather's beautiful as well, right? And I feel like the people are so lovely. I've worked with Mexican people on board ships and stuff, and I've always found beautiful people. So yeah,
we are cool people. Yeah, I can say that. Yes, and now that we talked about your career, I always ask my guests the same questions, just to know a little bit more about who your influences are. And so, who's your favorite female singer?
Oh wow! I think my favorite, technically, I think like Whitney and Celine. I'd go for those probably. Just because I love those big, epic ballad singers. That just hairs shiver down your neck. I think but I'd definitely say those two. I think those big epic divas style singers are the ones that I think resonate with me the most.
And you met Celine, right? Because she was at the X Factor as part of the team, or
I mean, even in that short space of time with her, you can feel her beautiful energy just radiating off of her. And I think the whole thing was a bit of a blur because she was just a beautiful person, but also she gave us just a few little technique pointers, and they really stick with you because I think she's one of the best technical singers. And to be able to do Las Vegas for as long as she has, to me, you have to have incredible technique because to be doing those huge songs and being able to do them night after night, you sort of think to yourself, wow, you have to have incredible technique for that. So kudos to her for that.
Yeah, well, you had the chance to meet her, so that must have been a great experience. And now, your favorite male singer?
Oh, it chops and changes all the time. Definite influences. So this is genuinely true, and I'm not just saying it because it's very sort of recent and raw. But growing up, I loved Meatloaf, genuinely. Meatloaf and John Bon Jovi were two that stuck with me when I was very young. Then I moved on to Robbie Williams, who was definitely a big influence throughout the 90s for me and early 2000s. But now I love artists like Bruno Mars, for example. I think he's absolutely incredible. Who else now? Oh, I love, and do you know what? I also love those artists like like I love Imagine Dragons. I think lead singer of Imagine Dragons is definitely an I love their passion towards stuff and what they're trying to put out there into the world. I love the feeling around them. You know, they're about this sort of one love thing, but their songs are really hard hitting and powerful as well. And I have to say, biggest influence as a band, probably Steps. You've got to give them a mention because they had such a big influence on Same Difference and the vibe that we went down. So yeah, big shout to them as well.
I was about to ask you about your favorite group, or whether it's a mixed band or a favorite boy band.
Do you know, I saw Backstreet Boys live, and I didn't realise how much, because at the time it was sort of, you know, I'm cool as a guy to like boy bands, and I always don't like it, you know. But actually, I realised when I went to see them how incredible they are vocally, and also how I knew every single song. Westlife was another one.
Yes.
You know, at that time, because I love the stuff that was like, when it really landed with me was when I was younger and going through those changes as you do as a boy and stuff, and times when you're finding yourself, finding your style, finding the music you love. That was the time. Whereas now I'm kind of like, I know what I love. I can kind of listen to 30 seconds of a song and know whether it's going to go on my playlist or not. And the 90s and the early 2000s were very big for me, and as far as me finding my musical influences.
Savage Garden, I could tell because you chose the Truly Madly Deeply.
Oh, yeah, I mean, again, what a voice he's got. It's just stunning. And yeah, love those. I remember I got the chance to see them live purely because they came to Portsmouth, and I used to pull pints down at our local. It's not a theatre. It's more like an arena, but it's kind of like one of those smaller arenas. But I used to work behind the bar there, and once we'd kind of finished our shift and the bar was closed, you could kind of go and watch all these artists. And so I saw so many great artists while I was there, and Savage Garden were one of them. Just incredible. I mean, vocals stunning. Yeah, could do incredible things with his voice.
Yes, they were huge here too.
I can imagine. I think they had a lot of fans all over the world.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
And now my final question is: you are dropped in an island, and you can only take 5 of your favorite albums with you. Which ones would you take?
So definitely the first Meatloaf album, Bat Out of Hell, that had Bat Out of Hell on it, and then it had like Heaven Can Wait, Paradise by the Dashboard Light, All Revved Up with No Place to Go, taking that all day long. Bon Jovi, Crossroads, the Greatest Hits album, taking that. Wow, after that, I'm trying to think of albums that really did. Yeah, one of the early Westlife albums, I think it was their first ever one. It had like 20 songs on it that were all really solid.
Yes.
I think it's the one with like Swear It Again on it.
Yes.
I think you've made me think about boy bands now. So that would have to come with me, because I remember I listened to that all the time. I don't really listen to that anymore though. I don't know if it's sort of one that I'd go back to and still love now. I don't know. I'll have to listen to it again. You've made me feel that. Okay. I've got to see, this is the thing. I kind of love music from the 90s, but I can't think of an album that I really listen to all the time. I feel like I've got to take a Steps album. Just I've got to, just purely because it will remind me of what we're all about too. So yeah, the first ever album I'd take of them. And but wow, I'm really struggling with this. Do you know, there's a Scottish band called Deacon Blue, who I love. I'd probably take their Our Town Greatest Hits album, because that has got such a link to my dad, and when I was growing up with him, and he loved all that kind of stuff. I think it just brings warm, fuzzy feelings to me. So I'd have to take that. But there's like Gaga's first album. I love that too, but that would just miss out, I think.
Oh, Lady Gaga's, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I think that first album, because that had a big say in our second Same Difference album. We love that album so much that we wanted to kind of emulate a lot of the stuff that she was doing for that second album. So it was a different kind of pop, but a cooler pop that was coming out at that time. So yeah. Oh, there's too many. There's so many. Five is almost impossible.
I know.
Can I not just take Spotify?
all my guests always tell me the same. Why only 5? So yeah, I get it. I get it. It's difficult, but I need to know who your influences are. So that's that's it. Now moving forward to the questions and comments from everybody. Oh, hello to Brazil.
Love Brazil. Big shout out.
Mariel, can you tell Sean Emma Noonan is watching, please? Hi, Sean.
Hi, Emma. Big love.
Miss you. Hopefully see you soon. Mark says, you need to get on TikTok and jump on the My Heart Will Go On singing challenge. I didn't know that.
Okay. I mean, there's no way I can sing Celine in that key. but I don't do TikTok a lot, to be honest. I know I've seen some kids that are like whizzes at it, and it's just so quick and easy to know. But if I was going to, it just takes me forever to do it, and I just give up on it.
I know, like new kids nowadays, are like, I'm gonna do a TikTok and stuff, and I'm like, what? I can't even tell how it works.
But I'm going to check out this challenge, and if it's doable and it's not going to take me hours of my time, I'll probably give it a go.
Okay, well, we may see you on TikTok. Don't know much about the when you were on Same Difference, but I love Still Amazed. This is from Cesar from Brazil.
That's one of my favorites off that album.
Mark says that Still Amazed should have been the second single, and Justice for Karma. Yes.
I love that, because to me that was right at the very end of the album and doesn't sort of get the love that I felt it deserved. I remember when I was recording it in the box, like singing it. It was one that the words really resonated with me, and I really felt it. I really felt it a lot, and it's one that it's never been a fan favorite. So the fact that that's getting mentioned, and big shout out Brazil, thank you for all the love. You know, it blows my mind that there are people all over the world now that can connect with you, and to find in my music, it's just big shout out and big love.
Yes, it's amazing. It's thanks to this social media and stuff. It's great. Someone here said, where is that comment? Focus on singles and a tour, maybe an EP before an album, says Mark.
We're on the same wavelength, Mark. We're definitely on the same. I love that. But yeah, absolutely. That's exactly how I'm feeling, because I think singles are the way forward now. And you know, this is the thing. I think if you get a single that really starts doing the rounds on Spotify, and you can get on some great playlists and stuff, people are naturally then going to go, oh, what else has he got? And so all your back catalogue's going to get a lot more plays. And so I think that's definitely the way forward. Smash out a few really good singles, and we've got I've been sent some demos that I'm really, really excited about. So that's definitely the way forward for me. And it's good. We're on the same wavelength, Mark. Thank you.
There you go. Cesar from Brazil says, do you like Britney Spears?
100%. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. All the way through my childhood, she was like a big part of it. And I still think she's just, incredible.
She should make a comeback. We need more music from Britney.
Yeah, there seems to be so many court cases and everything like that, when it's all we want is for her to get back to what she loves and just put herself out there, because that's all it is about for artists. It seems such a shame when these things happen to artists, because people need them in their lives,
Ask Sean if he had any bad situations with some artist.
I can't think of any really bad situations off the top of my head. I mean, I'm all about love. Whenever I meet new people, I always kind of love them. I remember there was there was a song called Fascination, You Must Know This, by Alphabet.
Yes.
Do you know it? Fascination. It was a world hit. Anyway, we did a show with them, and at the time we were getting so many messages on like Twitter, I think it was like MySpace at the time, saying, "Oh my God, we love your new song, Fascination." And me and Sarah were like, "That's not us, that's Alphabet." Yeah. So anyway, when we met them, I think we were on after them on like a big show. It's called Party in the Park, and they had all different artists on it. And we sort of went, "Oh, it's so great to meet you guys," and oh my goodness, like everyone keeps saying that Fascination is us. And like, we thought that they'd have a bit of banter and go, "Oh, that's funny, but instead they were like really offended. so I remember thinking, "Oh, like, what's wrong with us? Like, why don't you like that people think that we're your song?" Like, I was a bit offended by that, but I can't think of any major run-ins I've had with artists, really. I mean, obviously you're in competition with the artists that you're up against on the X Factor, so you've always got a little bit of like, "Oh, watch out, they could end up winning," or you're in competition. But I don't think I've got any major stories of beef. I remember having did you guys ever have JLS out there? I remember.
What?
They're called JLS. They're like they're a boy band.
The group.
Yeah,
yes.
they're really, I mean, they're huge here in the UK.
Yeah,
I don't
Take
know how
a Chance on Me. I love that song.
Oh, is it? Yeah. But I remember they were the year after us on the X Factor, and we had to go back and do We Are One the next year, and they were on it, and that was the year that Alexandra Burke won X Factor. Anyway, we went on, and their week, so we went on back on there, and then they were in the bottom 2 that week. And I'd noticed from our season of X Factor, if you were in the bottom 2, the likelihood was you were going to be there each week and fighting for your life each week. And this was kind of like only maybe 3 or 4 weeks into the finals. So I thought, these guys aren't going to last very long because they were already in the bottom 2, and it was maybe like 2 or 3 weeks into it. And I remember saying to Aston, like, don't worry, like, because I really did think they were good, and I thought these guys are really talented. And I said, "Don't worry, guys, like, if you get to 3rd, you'll get signed, because that's what happened to us. You will get signed." And that to him was like saying, like, a real kick in the teeth for him. He was like, "We are winning this thing, and you need to shut up," sort of. And I meant it as a really good thing. Like, all you need to do is get 3rd, you'll get signed, and you will be big artists, because I knew they had so much commercial potential. But he saw that as a real, like, I was really, and at the time, I think it must have been hard for him to hear, because he was probably thinking, we're in the bottom 2. They're trying to process that. And I don't know whether he knew he was doing it, but he really like snapped at me. but the thing is, they ended up coming 2nd that year, and they ended up having all these hits, so.
And they got signed.
Exactly, they got signed. I was massively wrong. I was wrong about them, because I was just thinking, they're not going to make it to the final, but they did that and more. So fair play to them all. I must admit, I remember meeting one of the other JLS members, Marvin. I was thinking, that guy is so cool. Like, he truly is cool to his core, and he's gone on to be absolutely huge in this country. So, it's sometimes you can see it in people. I remember there was a guy from our year, and I remember saying he's our biggest threat, because he was incredible, and he never ended up. He went out like 2nd week or something from X Factor. I was like, I can't believe this has happened. And now he's in like the West End. He's sort of jumping into all different shows in the West End, and he's huge. And I'm like, when you can tell someone's really good, they are. You need to believe it in your heart and know it, because, and that's what I'm going to do now. It's like to break through the noise, find the people that really truly are good, and eventually they'll come good. It's you just feel it and you know it, because talent rises to the top, and people can see what's true and what isn't. Definitely.
Yes, that's a good story with the JLS.
I don't want to start any beef with this guy. It's like...
Emma says, when you did End of the Line and One for Sorrow, you said you would do me a video. Please don't forget. Okay.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to. Sorry about that. Busy times.
Okay, Maddie Gordon says, ask him if he misses Panto. LOL. So,
Wow. I love Maddie. She's awesome. She came like 3 or 4 times to watch us in the latest show that we just did, and yeah,
mhm,
massively miss Panto. It was the last job that I did, and I absolutely loved it. And it's something you guys won't understand it over there because it's something that it's very like British. It's kind of
okay.
like a fairy story that's a comedy, and it's got songs in it. It's hard to sort of for people to understand that don't get it, but it was a cool show, definitely. But
Mm,
I definitely miss it, Maddie, and I miss you too.
okay. Joni Penders says, how do you think social media is for artists now? And how would you have dealt with it back in the day? Love from the UK.
Wow, great question. I think it's there are good things and bad things, but the beautiful things about it is being able to reach people like you, all across the world that ends up just loving your music through, you might like this too. And I
Mhm,
love that side of things, definitely.
mhm, mhm,
But for me, I always grew up, for me, it was about saving my pocket money to go
mhm,
to like Woolworths or HMV, which were big, I don't know what sort of music shows, music stores used to have over
mhm.
there. But for me, it was about going in, finding, saving up your pocket money, being like, and looking at all the albums and going, oh, which one am I going to
Yes.
buy? And that for me was like, you were committing that bit of money that you had to this album that meant so much to you. And then I'd play it until you couldn't play it anymore, until I'd saved up enough pocket money to get another one. And I
Mhm.
feel like the young kids today won't know how that feels,
No.
and I feel like that's such a heartbreaking thing because it was everything to me when I was a kid. So
Yes.
I feel like there's both sides to it, but it's so beautiful that you can put this record out, and as I say, people will find it all over the world because of you might like it, and it just puts it there in front of people, and I love that side of things, definitely.
Yes, I miss that too, like going into the record store and not knowing what you're going to buy because there's like a lot of options.
Yeah.
That was great. I
Oh, it's
actually went to,
painful.
yes, I
Yeah.
went to London like 20 years ago and I got into this record store. Can't remember where. It was in Piccadilly Circus.
Okay. Yeah. It might have
Can't
been one
remember
of the
the
big
name.
HMVs. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, can't remember the name. But I remember I was like so excited when I saw Billy Piper's second studio album, Walk of Life. And
Yeah.
I begged my dad, please buy this for me. And he was like, this? I don't even know her. And I'm like, I do know who she is. So he bought it for me. And I was like, oh my God, this is so exciting because I got to buy something by Billy Piper back in the day. And it
I
was,
loved her.
yeah,
Yeah.
she was awesome. I don't know why she's not
Again,
singing
another
anymore.
clean pop act that was just everything. And she went on to have an incredible acting career as well. And I love
Yes.
all of her stuff. She's kind of, yeah, she's really interesting. There's something really interesting about her. And obviously she was like one of the poster girls on my wall. I had loads when I was a kid. Like the Spice Girls was a huge one, obviously, but she was up there and Steps and everything. And it was, yeah, really
Yeah.
crazy times.
Such a complete artist that Billy is. Ask him if he met Pixie Lott. I love her voice and would be a great collab.
Yeah, I'd
I
love
think.
that. Definitely. She's kind of huge now. She's been on the Voice. She's like a judge on the
Mm,
Voice here. So she's kind of moved into that judging thing, but she
mm,
had some great records. But so I never actually met her, but she was I think even the same year or year above college to my sister. So my
mm,
sister went to Italia Conti, which is one of the sort of performance schools here in the UK, and
mhm,
Pixie Lott was in in college with her, so they knew each other really well. Apparently, even back then, it was quite clear that both of them were going to go on to sort of do pop stuff because it was what they loved and
mhm.
everything. And yeah, love her as well. And she had quite a while where she was making really great records here in the UK. So, and now she's kind of like a celebrity in her own right, from doing all the TV shows
Mhm.
and stuff. So
Uh,
that would be a collab that would blow my mind. But I can't imagine it happening anytime soon. But I'd love it.
That could be great. Oh my god, I'm dying. Can you hear
Yeah.
that? Oh, I hate it. It's just I hate that.
What?
It's so the same thing happened with Tess from Alcazar.
Oh, really? Someone having a
Yes.
sing song in the background.
It's a truck. There's like 1,000 trucks of this here in Mexico City that come by, and with this, I don't know how you call it, like a microphone or something, they start screaming. If you want to sell microwaves or fridges or whatever, and they pass like every hour, and I'm like, who has microwaves to give them? Like, so.
I love it. That's hilarious. I mean, we don't have any. I mean, we have people come around selling ice cream, and if you leave kind of like stuff that's maybe, you know, say you took an old radiator off, you could leave it outside, and someone would come and take it because it's like it's worth money or something, and they just go and get money for it. But and I quite like that. But like microwaves, you can sell them, like. And who sells their microwave, and who has more
I
than
don't
one?
know, but coming like every hour. I mean, do you have fridges or microwaves to be giving like crazy? And like, why are you coming every hour? So yeah,
They
it's a
really want
Mexican
those
thing.
microwaves. It's yeah. I mean, I won't understand it, but I love how it's so different. It's like something that blows my mind, but it's really cool to me in a way.
Yeah, and well, if you wait until more in the night, the tamales guy comes and starts screaming if you want to buy tamales. So, which is one of
Oh,
our more popular food. But
oh, nice.
yeah, it's
Oh, I feel
crazy.
like I need
Yeah.
to try this. Oh, yeah, I
Yes.
need to come to Mexico, definitely.
Yes, let me know, and I will take you places. I will take you to a lot of places here. Finally, did every song you recorded for the solo album make it onto the album, or did you remove any songs over the course of recording it?
Wow. Trying to think. I know there's definitely some songs that didn't make it. I feel like there are songs that didn't. Yes, 100%. What we found with that was certain demos didn't translate with my voice. So like we'd hear it and you'd say, yeah, this is definitely a song that works for me. And then when I'd go in and put it down, you'd start to realize that actually it doesn't work for me. Or maybe the producer that we used didn't get the flavor of the original demo, and so it's now missing something. It just doesn't work. And so yeah, the thing was with Energize was that we didn't want to waste any money wherever we could, so we had to be sure about songs if we were going to go and do it. And but this is the trouble as an artist. Also, you need to be able to say, this isn't working. We have to throw it out. And yeah, there was a song that didn't work. And I think it even went back to the original writers, and they were like, yeah, it's not got the same flavor as the demo. And we totally agreed. And so it ended up getting thrown out. But it doesn't happen very often because you have to be, I know in my heart what's gonna work for me and what isn't, generally. But I've got it wrong once or twice and ended up costing the label money. But this is you have to stick true to your artist's integrity on certain things, unfortunately.
Okay. Are you doing That's Entertainment show or similar again? Chris from Essex.
Cool. Wow, that's cool. I did a show called That's Entertainment, yeah, that sort of went round, and it was in that kind of style, the Rat Packy sort of thing, but I think it was more kind of, I'd say 40s or 50s kind of thing, and it had dancers, and it was a beautiful show. But I've not got any plans for that anytime soon. I've got, as I say, I'm kind of going to get back to auditioning in order to get something that's going to keep me on the road, or a big lump of performance, because I need to get that out of my system again. I've missed it. But if a show like that came up, I'd 100% be up for it. I don't think That's Entertainment will tour again anytime soon, but it was certainly something in my life that I really enjoyed doing.
No, okay. Ask Sean if he's doing Cinderella this year.
That's the pantomime that I did. They're asking whether they're going to have me back or not. I can neither confirm nor deny that one at the moment. It's in sort of early talks, so I don't want to sort of disrespect anybody, but I'll just say it seemed to be an option. But the year could change in so many different ways that that it may be something that I can't end up doing, but there seems to be a feel that the option's there. So I'm excited about the thought of it, and I'm honoured with that. But we'll have to wait and see how the year pans out, I think.
It all depends on this pandemic. And finally, who would you like to do it with if you could? Chris from Essex.
Oh, wow. It always changes. It always changes this. If I'm gonna. No, let's. I'd love to. Oh, it's so tough. I'm kind of thinking of the way that things are going. I'd love to do a record with Steps, but he's not asked that. He's asked who would you duet with. So I'm gonna say Robbie Williams, just because he in a certain time in my life meant so much that I think that would just the young me would be screaming inside, So yeah,
that would be great.
I think I have to say him.
Well, guys, thank you so much for watching. I mean, I know we could go on forever, but I bet that Sean has things to do. And
I've got an audition tomorrow. Yeah, I've got to be at my best.
So yes, but thank you so much, Emma, Lacey, Maddie, Chris, everyone watching. Well, I bet all of you guys are from the UK, but also we have people from Brazil, which is awesome. The people that were writing in Russian, please do it in English because I don't speak Russian. So next time. Thanks for that. And thanks everyone for watching, Sean. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I've had a great time getting to know more about your career, all these great years you've had in music.
It's been beautiful. Thank you so much. I mean, I've really enjoyed the questions, and I've had so much fun, and it really warms my heart to know that my music's reached Mexico. So yes. God bless you for that. And thank you so much for having me on. And big shout out to everybody out there. I love you all.
Thank you so much. Before I end this broadcast, please don't leave, Sean. I have one last question for you, but I'm going out. So thank you, everybody. And
thank you, everybody.
Stay tuned because Tuesday we have guest Mariel from Aiden's Crush, the first season of Pop Stars in the US. And Thursday we have Myra from the Princess Diaries. So I will be seeing you next time, and thank you so much for being here.
God bless.